Tonight, from Soldier Field in Chicago, it's Thursday Night Football on EA Sports. The Chicago Bears taking on Jalen Hurts and the Washington Commanders.
One of the great venues to watch a game in any sport and one of the best home crowds in any sport, Soldier Field in Chicago. Tonight we kick off Week 6 with a great Thursday night matchup between the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears. With Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin. And Charles, you look at this Bears team entering play. They're off to a terrific start, unbeaten at 5-0 through the first month and change.
And you can hang a lot of this early success on their defense, too. They're the tone setters for these guys, and the entire team feeds off of what they do.
Set to go now in Week 6 of the NFL season, and we are underway on EA Sports. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. So here are the Bears now for their opening drive. They'll be led out by the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 draft, Trey Lance.
And just think about what his ceiling in the NFL could be, because when you go back to his one collegiate season as a starter, the full season, he went undefeated, didn't throw an interception, and ran for over 1,000 yards as well. When you see him hit the field, you see a possible superstar in the making.
Throwing first play is Lance. Open man is the tight end, Noah Gray. And from the 25, they work this to the 29, a gain of 4. Charles, Thursday night game, I think a lot of teams probably say shrink the playbook somewhat. Is that correct?
I think you're right about that, because you just don't have the amount of time that you have in a normal week to put in a full playbook. So as you said, you shrink the playbook. Pick out the plays that work best for you. You know what else you're looking for?
What's that?
Who are the freshest guys coming off of the last game to play on a Thursday night? Guys have a little extra pep in their step. You go to them early and often.
2nd and 6, just inside the 30. Lance now to throw. That's out to the flat for Akers. Finding room at midfield. Down the sideline he goes. And he's going to be brought down at about the 16.
Well, partner, I'm not sure how this drive's going to end, but how about the way they flip field position there? A nice attacking play. They picked up a heck of a chunk of yardage.
Here's the first carry of the game for Cam Akers. He's down inside the 10 to the 8, and it comes on a gain of 8. Ball on the 8, 2nd and 2. Here's Lance to throw it. The quick slant caught. Touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins with career touchdown number 70. And the Bears will claim the early lead as they're on the board first here tonight. With these Thursday night games, sometimes you get those quick turnarounds. You wonder how a team's going to start. They started really well.
Everyone's always wondering, going into a Thursday night game, who has their legs, who has the overall health of a team. But mentally, if you get that early edge, the other team might think to itself, it's been a short week, we're not really ready to go. You might run them into the ground that way. That's why getting that early score means a lot.
After the touchdown, it's Robbie Gould now to kick it away. Fields it right around the goal line. And he brings us out past the 20 to the 24. So out comes the Washington offense onto the field. Leading them out, the third-year player from Oklahoma by way of Alabama, Jalen Hurts.
There's a lot of good to watch in the game last week, wasn't there? I mean, he did throw 2 touchdown passes. That was impressive. And he's so close, isn't he? The 3 interceptions killed him and his team. That was costly. But if he just cleans that up a little bit, there's a reason for optimism with this team and this passer.
Here's Joe Mixon as they start on the ground. And the result here, a pickup of 8. Leaves him with 2 to go on second down. This defense for the Bears, they were very good a week ago in that win over Minnesota.
And no matter what's done throughout a ball game, it always comes back to blocking and tackling. That's the essence of football. But I think it's hard for people to understand just how difficult it is to tackle, especially open field. Very few missed tackles on tape that I saw last game.
Thrown across his body, and it's intercepted. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson with a pick. And the Bears are going to take possession of the football. And this, Charles, definitely not what they were wanting to see. Remember, he threw 3 interceptions in the loss last week, and now he gives the ball away again here in the very first quarter.
And you have to think that this was drilled into him all week, too, by his teammates, by his coaching staff. They've told him all week long, we've got to protect the football. They probably crossed that fine line with giving him the right advice and saying it too much, and it turned out that it got into his head a little bit.
And some room to roam. And now off to the races down the right side. Touchdown, Chicago. Cam Akers with his 4th rushing touchdown on the year. And the Bears are able to strike quickly to add on to their lead. Gold able to tack on the extra point. And that'll make the score 14-0. It only took him 2 plays there to find the end zone. The last one, the long run, getting him in for 6 points. Taken at the goal line. And he'll get it up just past the 20 as his guys will go to work at the 21-yard line. Now Washington going to retake the field for drive number 2. Charles, it's kind of gut check time. Look, I know it's early, first quarter, just their second drive of the game, but they've already thrown the interception, given up the score. You're down double digits. They got to figure out something, and Hurts fumbles it. And this is picked up by the Bears. And the field position doesn't get much better than this. They'll have it 1st and goal at the 8-yard line.
The start of this game has me doing flashbacks and remembering when I was playing and seeing a similar start and seeing the head coach actually take a timeout and gather the whole team around him and tell him everybody to get it together. Let's get some focus going here, because maybe he just sensed that maybe the whole team wasn't ready to play.
Yeah, well, they've gone interception, now fumble. 2 of their 3 red zone trips so far they've come up empty on. They'll look to reverse that trend on 2nd and goal. Akers, he's going absolutely nowhere as he is hit behind the line. That's going to go down as a loss of 5, and it brings up 3rd down. The Lance going to throw. Quick hitter here, it's complete. A gain of 5, but not enough. Leads to a 4th and goal.
Well, we hear so often how tackling has become almost a lost art in the NFL game, but it's so important to tackle well on these receivers, especially in a play like this one. 3rd down, they gave him the underneath stuff. You got to go and make the tackle right away.
So the fumble recovery had them set up in ideal field position, but they can muster only 3 points out of it.
Yeah, when you're able to force turnovers, especially when it results in field position like they had, you really want to make it hurt. Here, they take the field goal. That's definitely not what they were hoping for.
And he's able to get this across the 20, but not by much, as he's marked down officially at the 21. And now this offense comes back out onto the field. They are currently mired in a losing streak. Now they get the short week for the Thursday night game. Do you see that as a potential positive, or is this just more in what has been really a string of bad luck for them?
Well, to me, it comes down to leadership, and leadership's got to spin it into a positive and make it an advantage for them. Yes, we're in a losing streak. Yes, no one thinks we can win, but we have the resources we need right here in this room. Let's go ahead and play better. Let's hang together and shock the world a little bit. Put it all together, they've got a chance of coming out with a W.
They'll send a receiver in motion to the right. From the gun, it's Hurts. Going up top. And the throw left sideline here is caught, but they'll rule it incomplete. Couldn't keep his feet in. 2nd down.
Almost feels like anything you can do, we're going to try and match or do better. We've already seen one touchdown pass from the opposition. They tried to equal it on that throw.
He'll buy some time right. And this one taken in on the right sideline, but not in the field of play. They say it's incomplete. The throw led him a little too far. It brings up third down. So now 3rd and 10. A big play to start the drive, but nothing since. Throwing is Hurts. He's going to try and go deep again. And that is intercepted on the sideline. Wait, no. They'll say no. It was caught out of bounds. So this is just an incompletion here. Well, Charles, sometimes we talk about the lengths officials sometimes go to protect star quarterbacks, but that was tough to argue against.
Yeah, and I'm sure that everyone's going to say, hey, we're going to administer the penalty the same way for all quarterbacks. But when it's a star back there, even more so are they going to be diligent about throwing the flag.
A good gain again. That's now 31 yards combined on those last 2 plays. Inside the red zone here. They'll look to throw. Hurts fumbles it. Points 1, 2, and 3 in their defensive game plan was to get to the quarterback and knock the ball free. They did it there. Luckily, offense hangs on to it.
Yeah, that's got to serve as a wake-up call, though, because they can't afford to let the ball go over to the defense and miss opportunities. And I'm not saying it happened here, but you know what a good rule of thumb is when a play like that occurs? You know who usually recovers it? The guy who missed his block and let his quarterback get hit.
That'll be marked as a 27-yard pickup. 17-0 our score after 1. And they've got 3 tight ends here on 1st and goal to add some extra mass. Off the play fake. Here's Hurts. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And this is picked up by the Bears. He's at the 50. He's at the 30. 10, 5. And they bring this one back. A fumble return for a Bears touchdown. So that's about as fortuitous of a bounce as you're going to find as it's scooped up and taken in for the touchdown.
And I love how you use the word fortuitous there, because as that popped up, he just happened to be in the right place, grabbed it, and found his way into the end zone.
And you can bet they're preaching 2 hands on the ball here as the kick's away following that fumble return. Taking it about the 1. And makes it across the 20 as his guys will set up shop at the 23-yard line. Out comes Washington's offense as they get set to take over here. They're sort of seeing themselves spiral out of control. Let's see if they can get things back on track.
And this is where the coach is walking that line of,
there he goes, right side. The 20. Touchdown, Washington. Marquise Goodwin, his 4th touchdown on the year. And the Commanders are able to cut into that deficit. Extra point try good by Gano. And that'll make it 24-7. They certainly made quick work of that, ultra-quick work. One of the fastest drives you'll ever see, just 1 play resulting in the touchdown. Gano now following the touchdown here to kick it away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. The offense trots back out, ready for this next drive, and there's the running back, Cam Akers. And we checked the rushing numbers so far here into Week 6, and the returns have been really good. Now, you're starting to hit that stride middle of the season toward the end. They're certainly hoping they can keep up this production.
They are, because one of the adages in the NFL is that defense travels and defense endures even in bad weather, right? You know what else does?
And he can't find a receiver, and he's brought down. But DeForest Buckner using those big hands and getting in there and bringing him down for the sack. The Commanders bringing out the nickel package on third down. From the gun, it's Lance. And now a fumble. The ball's out. And it's Washington that scoops it up. And his crew will take over with a football at the 35-yard line. We know he's got the speed to get downfield, Charles, but there's the negative side. A little loose with the football that time.
And that's normal, especially when you have his type of talents, because you feel like you're into the open field and maybe you don't feel the people who are around you or closing in. All quarterbacks have to do extra ball security drills with the way the game's played now, because defenses, they attack the football as much as they attack the runner.
He finds his running back, Mixon. And he is out of bounds right around the 10-yard line. A really nice gain of 25 yards.
Now that's the kind of big play you'd like to see. This first half, it hasn't gone their way, and they could use a shot in the arm, something to perk them up a bit. And they get one here in the passing game.
So not quite a first and goal. It's first and 10 from the 10. Back to throw here. Flushed out right. He'll get just a yard on the scramble. It's second down.
I'm not quite sure what he thought he saw there, but the reality was certainly a much different picture than what he anticipated. And give credit to the defense. They were down on the flash when he broke out of there, and they forced him out with almost nothing to show for his efforts.
Throw out right, taken in by Patterson. 2 yards on the pickup there. 3rd and 7 now.
Oh, it's time to give a little credit there to the defense. They played that very well because it was a drag route, and he ran a little shallower than normal as he worked straight across the field. He was hoping he'd get lost behind the defensive line, but once he made the catch, nowhere to turn upfield and gain any yardage.
3rd down, here's Patterson. And they're going to mark him down short, maybe by about a yard, if that. A good gain there on 3rd and 8 of 7 yards, and now a decision here on 4th and 1.
Some good strong running right there, some power and some explosiveness just about got him into the end zone.
Giving to the big tight end on 4th. And he'll take this into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington. Durham Smythe, his first touchdown on the year. And the Commanders' decision to go for it pays off with 6 points. CD for them. This has just been an offensive explosion here in the second quarter.
Yeah, held scoreless in the first quarter. Now they find the end zone again here in the second. Sometimes you just have to have some patience. A lot of people think it's always an adjustment. You have to change what you're doing. Sometimes you just have to do your game plan just a little bit better. And I think that's part of what we're seeing here.
Gano now following the touchdown here to kick it away. And this will be a touchback as that sails over the end line. The offense trots back out, ready for this next drive. And there's the running back, Cam Akers. He's been effective so far, over the 40-yard mark here in the second quarter. Don't forget about those guys up front, though. They've been effective, too.
The leverage game has been in their favor. They've been the ones who've been able to bend their knees, drop their hips, and get a little bit lower than the guys on the other side of the football, and they've moved them out of the way for the runner.
Sometimes that's tough for those big fellas.
Not an easy thing for them to do.
And they'll get it up just short of the 45 at the 44. A gain of 10 as they look to add on to this 10-point lead. Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on first down. Here's Akers. And this one's going to go the wrong way. Losing yardage back at the 42. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12.
That was well played there defensively. 2 tight ends in the formation, which essentially gave them 7 blockers up front. Hard to imagine with all that size and beef that they could let a tackler through. But that's exactly what happened. A loss resulted.
And that falls to the ground, incomplete. A nice job of bodying him up defensively. And now it brings up 3rd down. An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down. Throwing now is Lance. And he can't find anywhere to go with it, and he goes down. That time, multiple defenders getting pressure, and it's a loss of 6. On 4th down, here's Brian Anger now to kick this one away. So possession goes over here on the punt. And the Washington offense will be backed up to start this drive as they've got it 1st and 10.
The Commanders' offense returning to the field.
They came out not so hot. The first quarter, they were sputtering a little bit, but they seem to have stayed the course and really righted the ship here in the second.
Well, let's face it, all the preparation that goes into getting ready for a game, all the scouting reports, the practice, the repetition, sometimes you get a little bit of a lull to start things off. Maybe you get a little flat, but if you put in that time, you put in that effort, it can come back to you, and that's what we're seeing so far.
Now can they keep that momentum going? They'll come out throwing here on 1st down. A 50-50 ball here, and it's intercepted.
It's C.J. Henderson picking it off.
I'm not sure, Brandon, we've seen a sloppier played game this year for a team on offense. Turn it over 4 times and expect to win? No chance whatsoever. And look, I have no idea what the ratio is about turnover 4 times and how that correlates to winning or losing, but I'll guarantee you, it's not very good.
Nice work to get 7 out of that, and it's 2nd down.
So, Charles, you look at this offense, what a start to the season. 5 wins without a loss. When do you think that you start believing that maybe you're in the midst of something special?
Well, you and I both know every head coach never wants that thought to creep into a locker room. But the truth of the matter is, not quite at this time, because if we look at the Steelers in 2020, they're a great example. Remember, they started 11-0, then lost 5 of 6 and went out in the first round. But I think if you get toward mid-November, the Thanksgiving time frame, and you're still doing this, that's when things start to get real for a ball club.
And he'll be taken down here just shy of the 30.
Now the Bears going to use the second of their timeouts as they get the stoppage with just under 50 seconds remaining in half number 1.
Only needing 2 yards on 2nd down. Working from the gun. Lance
being chased out left.
And that one going to come up short. Low throw.
I see the surprise in your face there, partner. That is a rare incompletion from him. He's been on point this entire game.
He has percentage completion-wise way up. Not that time. He finds his man complete. That's Grant.
And they're going to get this down to about the 17-yard line here.
But things are definitely going right for them here in the first half. Pick it down, any down, even 3rd down, no problem. They get a connection.
Trying to force it to Hopkins, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Denzel Ward.
And the Commanders are going to take over at their own 41.
I would guess that combined, if you spoke to both defenses, neither side has a lot to celebrate today. They haven't had a lot of stops, but that one right there, that's a big one because they stole points away with that play. And just as importantly, picked up a key stop on an offense that's been really impressive here in the early going.
Steps away.
And Hurts is intercepted, his 3rd of the game.
Rasul Douglas picks it, and the Bears are going to take possession of the football.
Well, Charles, you're so close to halftime there. You throw the interception. Not only that, you do give it to them in plus territory as well.
Yeah, they were pushing real hard to try and get something more on the board on their side of the ledger right before the half. Looking at it with 20/20 hindsight, though, might have been better to hand it off a few times, hoping to get something to break instead of putting the ball in the air and, of course, putting the ball in jeopardy.
Message received here. No need to wait. We're going to skip halftime and get right back to the action. Here comes the 3rd quarter. Fielded just outside the goal line. And he takes this near the 25. Just a little pass there. Call it the 26. Jalen Hurts in this offense trotting back out.
And he's got to be wondering what happened in that first half. 3 interceptions, very uncharacteristic.
And even the great ones go through phases like this, like what we just saw. And most of them, they have such a mental capacity to throw it out and essentially start over. I think that's where he's headed now.
He's got his opportunity to throw it out. Let's see how he does.
I'm sure this isn't a novel thought, but maybe run some simpler routes instead of trying to get it all back in one shot. Defense certainly appears to be ready for him. Try and get it back little by little instead of in big chunks.
They'll bring a receiver in motion right. Out to his left. And this one is incomplete.
Well, defensively, they haven't let him just sit in the pocket and get comfortable, and that's opposite a lot of game plans in today's NFL. Ordinarily, you're trying to keep the quarterback hemmed in. In this case, they brought the heat, and if he flushes out, they're fine with that, and they force another incompletion. How about some applause for the defense there? They forced him to throw that one into coverage, and just like that, they're staring at a 4th down. Well done.
They'll send a receiver here in motion right.
They'll try and throw for it with Hurts.
And for the 4th time tonight, it's an interception.
It's C.J. Henderson picking it off.
Tough one there. First drive of the 3rd quarter, throw an interception, and now a chance that they could be in even a bigger hole if they can convert this into points.
Yeah, but how good do you feel if you're that defensive coordinator right now? Because you just know that the head coach looked at him and said, turn him loose, big man. And he'd be able to take a few extra chances playing with this type of a lead, and boy, it paid off.
They'll roll him out right. And I think the ball's out. But fortunately, he's able to recover his own fumble, or that could have been trouble. Give him 10 that time, escaping the danger, running with it, and picking up a 1st down.
Fortunately for him, that ball stayed close so that he could recover it on his own.
And you know the prayers that were going through his head as the ball escaped from him? How happy was he at the end of it when he found the football again, able to retain possession?
And Lance again going to keep it.
Now a loose football. The ball comes out.
And it's Washington that scoops it up.
And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back.
Problems there on the option and a costly turnover.
Yeah, partner, you know how we watch practice sometimes and we see those drills where the quarterback's running with the football and they're swinging pads at him and the brooms are out and they're trying to poke at the football for ball security. I have a feeling next week there'll be an extra session of that each and every day.
They begin with a run by Mixon. And a short 3-yard pickup gets him up to the 15.
Well, they still have time to get him established, but in my estimation, they've got to pick up the urgency here. They've got to get quickly in and out of the huddle and run off a bunch more plays.
The last run got 3. Now here's 2nd and 7. Off the play fake, he'll look to throw. Rolling to his right. And that's going to be too high. Out of bounds and incomplete.
Right, I think he's got to be careful as he continues to try to extend plays because he's already been intercepted in this game. And the coverage, they continue to challenge all of his receivers downfield.
Escaping the pressure right. And he's going to be brought down. Back at his own 6-yard line. They dial up the corner blitz that time, and it delivers to the tune of a 9-yard loss.
That's number 4, sack number 4. They had 4 last week, so he's been down on the ground a lot.
Partner, they say the eye in the sky does not lie. And that's indeed the case because they watched the game tape from the previous week, incorporated it into their own defensive scheme, and continued to get after this quarterback.
And now this defense. And now here is another interception.
It's C.J.